My name is Joe Armstrong, and I'm going to say something that might sound strange, but if you've ever felt like your life is on a loop, you'll understand immediately. In reality transurfing, your life isn't one single line. It's multiple lines, multiple branches, where each version of you has different events, different connections, different money, different mood, even different decisions. And you don't force a desire into your reality. You move on to the branch where that desire is already natural for you. The problem is, most people try to jump to a new branch while staying the same on the inside. They want a different reality, but they keep living in the same automatic reactions. Anxiety, checking, comparing, anger, resentment, replaying the past, waiting for a sign. And that's exactly how they lock themselves onto the old line. In transurfing, these are called pendulums. Anything that hooks your attention and swings your emotions. A pendulum doesn't have to be bad, it just feeds on your energy. And as long as you keep feeding it, you're not choosing your branch, you're reacting. That's why transurfing doesn't start with, how do I get it? It starts with, what do I stop feeding? Because attention is the steering wheel. You can't steer into a new reality if both hands are busy proving to yourself that everything is wrong. And yes, Neville Goddard would call this a state. The outer world reflects what you live in as normal on the inside. Different words, same mechanism. Quick pause. If you like this content, and you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. Now here's the key. Moving to the right branch isn't a dramatic push, and it's not a panic of, I need this now. It's a calm choice. You lower importance, you drop the excess tension, you stop fighting the current reality, and instead, you set your slide, an inner picture of the result, until it feels normal for you. Not as a wish, but as coordinates. Because branches aren't chosen by wanting. Branches are chosen by your inner normal, and by where your attention goes every day. Most people think choosing a branch means thinking about what you want harder. More affirmations, more visualization, more videos, more signs. But in transurfing, the branch shifts the moment your importance drops and your attention stops being hijacked. Because the fastest way to stay stuck is to make your desire the center of your emotional survival. Here's what that looks like in real life. You want money, so you obsess. You check your bank app. You refresh your email. You stress about rent, insurance, groceries. You tell yourself, once I get this, I'll finally breathe. That's excess importance. And excess importance creates tension. Tension creates resistance. You start making desperate decisions, pushing too hard, chasing the wrong people, overpaying, underpricing, accepting bad deals, anything to get relief. And you end up reinforcing the exact branch you're trying to leave. This is why transurfing teaches you to remove the emotional charge first. You don't pretend you don't care. You stop worshiping the outcome. You stop acting like one result is the only way you can be okay. Because the moment you treat it like oxygen, you tighten up. And tight energy doesn't move you onto a better line. It keeps you glued to the old one. So the shift starts with a simple rule. The present moment is not your enemy. The present moment is just your current branch. You don't fight it. You don't complain about it. You don't feed it with constant mental noise. You acknowledge it, and you choose differently from here. And this is the practical move. Identify one pendulum that steals your attention daily and starve it. 1. Maybe it's doom scrolling. Maybe it's checking your ex's page. Maybe it's arguing online. Maybe it's comparing yourself to other creators. Maybe it's obsessing over your numbers. You don't have to fix your entire life today. You just have to stop giving energy to the thing that keeps you emotionally hooked. Because when you cut one pendulum, you free up attention. And attention is what lets you set a new slide without inner conflict. Once the emotional charge is gone, your new line stops feeling like fantasy. It starts feeling like a choice. That's the real secret. You don't switch branches by force. You switch branches by removing what keeps dragging you back. Now let's talk about the slide, because this is where people either do transurfing correctly or they turn it into wishful thinking. A slide is not daydreaming. A slide is a selected inner reality that you treat as normal. It's like setting coordinates on a map. You're not begging the world. You're choosing a line where the result already exists, and then you stop contradicting it with fear. The biggest mistake is making the slide too big and too emotional. People try to imagine a mansion, a Lamborghini, a perfect body, the perfect partner, and they do it with this desperate intensity. But desperation is still a pendulum. It still screams, I don't have it. And that emotional charge snaps you back to the old branch. A real slide is simple and calm. It's a short, normal scene that implies the outcome is already true. Not a highlight reel, an everyday moment. If your goal is money, the slide isn't you screaming in excitement. It's you paying bills calmly and still having margin. It's you opening your laptop and seeing steady clients, steady orders, steady deposits. If your goal is relationships, it's not a dramatic confession. It's a stable message, a peaceful conversation, a normal feeling of being chosen. If your goal is a new level of confidence, it's you walking into a room grounded, speaking clearly, not needing approval. Here's the rule. The slide has to feel believable to your nervous system. Not logical, but believable. Because if your body rejects it, you'll fight it. You'll start checking. You'll start doubting. You'll start searching for proof. And proof hunting is how you leave the chosen line. So you build the slide around the feeling of normalness. The result is done, and you're just living inside it. That's why transurfing says, lower importance, then run the slide. First you remove the tension, then you select the line. And once you have the slide, you don't stare at it all day like you're trying to force reality. You run it briefly, cleanly, then you go live. You act, you move, you watch for doors. Because the outer world will start matching the line you've selected, but it does it through events, not through instant magic. Quick pause. If you like this content and you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. One more thing, don't use the slide to escape your life. Use the slide to guide your life. The slide is not fantasy time. The slide is direction. It tells you who you are on the new branch, so you can respond like that person today. That's how the line becomes real. Here's where transurfing gets misunderstood. People think the slide is the work. Like if they visualize hard enough, reality has to obey. But transurfing isn't about forcing, it's about alignment. The slide is the direction, and then you let outer intention do what your desperate mind can't do. Rearrange circumstances without you micromanaging every step. Outer intention is not hoping. It's when the world starts meeting you halfway because you stopped creating resistance. You lowered importance. You starved pendulums. You selected the line, and now you're moving through life like the outcome is normal. That shift changes what you notice, who you talk to, what you say yes to, what you say no to, and what doors you even see. This is why the result often arrives through what looks like coincidence. You meet someone at the perfect time, a random message comes in. You stumble onto the exact information you needed. A delay saves you from the wrong deal. You get invited into a room you weren't even aiming at. That's outer intention in action. The line you chose starts pulling matching events into your reality. Most people ruin this part by trying to control the how. They pick a slide, and then they demand a specific path. It has to come from this job. It has to be this person. It has to happen by next week. That's importance again. That's tension. That's you grabbing the steering wheel with panic, and it snaps you back to the old branch. So the practical rule is simple. Stop hunting for signs, start watching for doors. A sign is passive. A door requires action. If a door opens, an opportunity, a conversation, an invitation, a new idea, you step through it calmly, like it's normal. You don't overthink it, and you don't need 10 confirmations. You move. Because the new line isn't built by wishing, it's built by responding differently when life presents the next step. Quick pause. If you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. And yes, this is where Neville Goddard matches transurfing perfectly. Neville called it the bridge of incidents. Same principle, different label. You live from the end, and life builds the bridge. You don't force the bridge, you don't plan every plank, you don't argue with the middle. You stay loyal to the selected reality, and you keep moving like the outcome is handled. The biggest skill here is emotional discipline in the middle. Because the middle can look messy, it can feel slow, it can include weird detours. Sometimes it even starts with something you'd normally call bad news. But if you've selected the right line, you don't judge the middle as failure. You treat it like a reroute. You keep importance low, you keep your slide clean, you keep pendulums starved, and you take the doors as they appear. That's how outer intention does its job. Now let's talk about the part nobody wants to hear. You can't switch branches while you're still addicted to reacting. Because pendulums don't just live in the world, they live inside you. They're the automatic impulses that pull you back to the old line. Checking, complaining, arguing, stalking, comparing, doom scrolling, proving, defending, panicking. Every one of those reactions feeds the same identity. I'm still the old me. And in transurfing, the line you're on is held together by your energy, not your opinions, your energy. Meaning what you consistently give attention to and how you emotionally respond to it. So if you want a new line, you need a new default response. Here's the simplest way to do that. Catch the micro moments. The tiny moments where you normally spiral. The moment you see a number you don't like. The moment someone leaves you on red. The moment you feel envy. The moment you think, it's not working. Those micro moments are the portal back to the old branch. And that's where you win or lose. Instead of reacting, you label it pendulum. You don't fight it. You don't debate it. You don't try to fix it emotionally. You just refuse to feed it. You take your attention back like you're taking your wallet back from someone's hands. Then you return to your slide for 5 seconds, not as begging, as remembering. You recall the normalness of the chosen line. You feel the outcome as already handled, and then you move forward and do the next real step in front of you. That's how you stop bouncing between branches. Because bouncing is what most people do. They pick the slide at night, then wake up and spend the day emotionally living in the old reality. They chase signs. They check outcomes. They talk about what's missing. They rehearse fear. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But they never stayed on the new line long enough for it to harden into facts. Quick pause. If you like this content and you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. So here's a practical rule you can use today. 1 pendulum per day. Pick one thing you will stop feeding for the next 24 hours, just one. No doom scrolling, no checking an X, no arguing in comments, no obsessing over views, no refreshing your bank app every hour. Choose one and starve it completely. You'll feel withdrawal. That's normal. That withdrawal is proof you were feeding it. And when you starve one pendulum, you'll notice something powerful. Your energy comes back. Your attention comes back. Your nervous system calms down. And from that calmer state, your slide stops feeling like fantasy. It starts feeling like a direction you can actually live from. That's the switch. Not a miracle. A new default. A new response. A new line. Here's the next level. You don't just stop feeding pendulums. You replace the old line with a new identity on purpose. Because a branch of reality isn't just events. It's the version of you that those events belong to. If you keep waking up as the same person, same standards, same self-talk, same tolerances, you'll keep landing in the same timeline, even if you visualize every night. So the real question becomes, who is the version of you who already lives on the chosen line? Not what does he want? Who is he? How does he carry himself? What does he tolerate? What does he ignore? How does he respond under pressure? What does he do first in the morning? What does he do when he feels anxious? Those answers are the blueprint of the branch. This is where Transurfing and Neville overlap perfectly. Transurfing says, choose the line, lower importance, and act as if the goal is already yours. Neville says, assume the state of the wish fulfilled, and your world will mirror it. Different words, same mechanism, identity first, evidence second. So build a simple identity script. 1 paragraph. No poetry, no hype, just facts. I am a man who is supported. I make clear decisions. I don't chase validation. I have stable income. I respect my time. I stay calm when things move slowly. I take doors when they appear. This script isn't for motivation. It's for alignment. It tells your nervous system what branch you're living on. Then you anchor it with one daily action that matches the new line, not 10 actions. 1. If your chosen line includes more money, your action could be 1 outreach message, 1 proposal, 1 skill session, 1 rate increase, 1 piece of content. If your chosen line includes a better body, your action is the workout, even if it's short. If your chosen line includes better relationships, your action is a boundary, a clean decision, a stop to chasing. Action is how you prove the identity to yourself without begging the world for proof. Quick pause. If you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. And here's the key. Don't wait to feel ready. Ready is a mood. Identity is a decision. You act like the new version of you, and the feeling catches up. That's how you stop being a tourist in a new reality and start living there for real. At this point, you've got the core pieces. You're starving pendulums, lowering importance, running a clean slide, and acting from the new identity. Now, the only thing that can ruin it is inconsistency, bouncing back and forth between lines because you don't have a simple routine that holds you steady. So you need a daily structure, not something complicated, something you can actually repeat, even on busy days, even when your mood is trash, because the branch you live on is built by repetition, not by one perfect moment. Here's a routine that works without turning your life into a spiritual project. In the morning, take 60 seconds and set your line. Read your identity script once, slowly. Then run your slide for 10 seconds, just one short, normal scene that implies the outcome is already true. Don't hype yourself up, just feel the calm, of course. Then move on with your day. During the day, your only job is to protect your attention. That means one rule: no proof hunting, no constant checking for signs, no refreshing numbers, messages, or outcomes to calm your anxiety. If you catch yourself doing it, stop, label it pendulum, and return to the end for 5 seconds. 1 breath, 1 line, 1 quick inner image. Then you get back to real life. In the evening, you close the loop. You run the slide again in that drowsy state when the mind is quiet. You don't do it for 30 minutes. You do it until it feels natural. Then you stop and fall asleep in that assumption. That's how you keep the chosen branch impressed on your subconscious. Then there's one more piece that makes this work fast. one aligned action every day. 1, not 10. Because action is how you meet outer intention halfway. A new branch isn't a fantasy. It's a line of events you step into. One message, one call, one application, one workout, one boundary. One thing that the already there version of you would do today. Quick pause. If you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. If you do this for 7 days, you'll notice something immediately. Your nervous system calms down. Your reactions change. You stop feeding the old timeline with your attention. And when your reactions change, your timeline changes. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped sabotaging it. Keep it simple. Set the line in the morning. Protect it during the day. Impress it at night. One action daily. That's how you stay on the new branch long enough for it to become your new normal. Here's how you close this out the right way. You stop treating transurfing like a theory, and you treat it like navigation, because that's what it is. You're not praying for a different life. You're steering into it, one choice at a time, by controlling importance, attention, and identity. The reason most people never switch branches is simple. They keep returning to the old line for emotional comfort. They don't even realize it. They complain because it feels familiar. They panic check because it feels like control. They replay the past because it feels like certainty. And all of that is the old branch asking to be fed. The moment you see that, you gain power, because you can choose to stop feeding it. So here's the challenge. Keep it clean for 7 days. Pick one main desire, one slide, and one identity script. Starve one pendulum daily. Lower importance by refusing to make the outcome your oxygen. Run the slide morning and night, short and calm. Then take one aligned action every day. No overthinking, no proof hunting, no drama, just navigation. Quick pause. If you want to support the channel with a donation, the donation alerts link is in the description. And when the middle gets messy, because it might, don't judge it as failure. Treat it as a reroute. Outer intention rearranges things through events, and events aren't always pretty at first. But if you stay loyal to the chosen line, you'll start noticing doors you would have missed before. Opportunities, conversations, timing, ideas. Step through them like it's normal, because on the branch you chose, it is normal. This is the real shift. You become the version of you that belongs to the outcome. And once you become that version, reality doesn't need to be forced. It catches up.